Good evening. You're watching the 7 o'clock English news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Firstly, headlines. On behalf of His Majesty the Sultan, His Highness Said Asad bin Tariq leaves for Brunei Darussalam to attend the Golden Jubilee celebration of His Majesty the Sultan of Brunei's accession to the throne. As per royal directives, Fulk As-Salama ship starts its journey to several East African countries. And at a cost of worth more than 200 million Oman Riyals, a usufruct agreement to establish a cement factory at Duqm is signed. Those were the headlines. Now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of congratulations to President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi of the Arab Republic of Egypt on the occasion of October 6th anniversary. On behalf of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, His Highness Said Asad bin Tariq Al Said, Deputy Prime Minister for International Relations and Cooperation Affairs and personal representative of His Majesty the Sultan, headed today to Brunei Darussalam to attend the Golden Jubilee celebration of His Majesty Sultan Haji Hassan Al Bolkiah Sultan of Brunei Darussalam's accession to the throne, scheduled to be held in the capital Bandar Seri Begawan. His Highness Said Asad is accompanied by an official delegation comprising of His Excellency Sheikh Saif bin Mohammed Al Shabibi, Minister of Housing, His Excellency Sheikh Ahmed bin Hashid Al Maskri, Sultan's Ambassador to Brunei Darussalam, His Excellency Khalifa bin Hamad Al Badi, Advisor to the Office of the Deputy Prime Minister for the International Relations and Cooperation Affairs and personal representative of His Majesty the Sultan, and His Excellency Saif bin Ahmed Al Sawafi, Advisor at the Office of the Deputy Prime Minister for the International Relations and Cooperation Affairs and personal representative of His Majesty the Sultan. As per directives of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, the ship Fulk As-Salama left this morning to the ports of Zanzibar and Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and Mombasa in Kenya. More details in the following report by Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubai.
On the guidance of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Said and the revival of the Omani maritime heritage, the royal vessel Fulk As-Salama this morning took off from the port of Sultan Qaboos on the journey to some East African countries to visit the ports of Zanzibar and Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and Mombasa in Kenya, taking with them greetings of love and peace from the Omani people to their brothers in those countries. The trip comes as an extension of the Omani vessel's voyage to a number of ports around the world in order to strengthen the friendship and love between the Sultanate and those countries. His Majesty the Sultan, may God bless him and grant him peace, entrusted His Excellency Dr. Mohammed bin Hamad Al-Rumhi, Minister of Oil and Gas, to lead this blessed journey. Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubai, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
At the end of its works in the Malaysian capital Kuala Lumpur, the 4th International Conference titled Civilizational Message of Omani Literature called for increasing support for research establishments and Omani literary studies centers. It also recommended to organize similar gatherings to shed light on Omani literature. The conference also proposed to establish an Omani literary club in Malaysia to acquaint people in Malaysia on the works of the Omani writers and authors. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al Saidi, Minister of Health, stressed to radio and television of the Sultanate of Oman that the centers of organ donation operations such as liver and kidneys have become safe and healthy, and there are no side effects whether for the patient or the donor. He added that the Sultanate has also made great strides in renal and marrow transplantation and the shortage of centers is due to the lack of donors. Dr. Qasim bin Mohammed Al-Salmi, Director General of the Royal Hospital, indicated that in the coming months, a new center for compressed oxygen therapy, which is important for diabetes and associated symptoms, will be inaugurated.
المركز هذا مهم لعلاج أمراض.
Ways to develop awareness programs aimed at promoting the family and preserving the Omani unique values. Top discussions of the National Committee of Family Affairs in its third meeting this year. The committee reviewed stimulating family ties and urging families to play their roles towards children and guide their behavior, as well as ways of handling messages and negative content in the social media websites to avoid them falling into behavioral practices that do not comply with Omani community values. The meeting was presided over by His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Saeed Al-Kalbani, Minister of Social Development. At a cost worth more than 200 million Omani riyals, the Special Economic Zone at Duqm signed a usufruct agreement with Al-Wusta Cement Company to establish a cement factory at Duqm. Based on the agreement, the company obtained a land with 500,000 square meters in the heavy industrial area. The factory will provide around 400 job vacancies and a number of work opportunities for small and medium enterprises. It will also activate the activities of the companies working in the field of cargo, packing and storage. Al-Wusta Cement Company expected to start construction works during the coming year 2018, and the actual production will be in 2020. Still to come on News Bulletin. Although swifter methods of communication exist right now, the French military hasn't written a carrier pigeons off entirely from duty. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. His Excellency Dr. Fuad bin Jafar Al Sajwani, Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth, announced the launch of a program to grant 700 artisan fishing licenses for job seekers at the coastal governorates. He pointed out that the licenses will be given to those who meet the required stipulations by the ministry. Each job seeker who has valid fishing license will be provided with one artisan fishing license. Priority will be given to those who have already submitted the applications. The applicant should not be an owner of a boat or licensed vessel or have waived his boat as well fishing vessel. The Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries called on interested applicants to submit the applications to the administrations and directorates of the ministry at the coastal governorates during the period from October 8th up to the end of December 2017. Around 100 tons of chromite fish is expected to be produced by 17 pisciculture farms. This was stressed by the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries. This came as part of the expansion plan to encourage pisciculture farms in various wilayas of the Sultanate for a number of types of fish and other seafood species. The ministry is providing technical support to these projects and assist them in marketing their products. Some 60 international experts are discussing dimensions of strategic growth leadership in international aluminium industry at Arab International Aluminium Conference and Exhibition Arabal. The event will be hosted by Sahara Aluminium Company for the second time in Muscat during the period from the 7th to the 9th of November 2017. It will discuss topics related to the market prices, storage operations, modern techniques, and renewable energy. The conference will host more than 500 participants from 30 countries and will highlight the importance of aluminium industry in reshaping the world's economies and the sustainable role of the region in the production and exporting of aluminium. %1 is the contribution of Sahara Aluminium Company in the GDP of the Sultanate, according to a study prepared by the company that was pointed out to radio and television of the Sultanate of Oman by Engineer Saeed bin Mohammed Al Masoudi, Chief Executive Officer of Sahara Aluminium, who further explained that the company endured over the last incidents that caused the failure of some smelting cells of the company. Now for some international news. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Saudi Arabia's King Salman today opened talks in his first official visit of a Saudi monarch to Russia that's expected to focus in the oil market and the war in Syria. At the Kremlin's opulent St. Andrews Hall, Putin hailed the king's visit as a landmark event. King Salman called Russia a friendly nation and said his country was committed to strengthen ties. During Cold War times, the Saudis helped arm Afghanis rebels fighting against the Soviet invasion. More recently, tensions were high over the war in Syria. Despite regional disagreements, the two countries found common ground on energy policy in November when they led the deal between OPEC and non-OPEC states to cut production in a bid to shore up crude prices. So far, that deal is holding. Trade volume between the two countries reached $2.8 billion last year. Iraqi Prime Minister said today that his government forces have retaken the northern town of Hawija from the Daesh group, one of the group's last stronghold in Iraq. Haider al-Abadi said in Paris that the fight against Daesh would now focus on the border zone with Syria. Iraqi forces launched the operation to retake the town, which lies 240 kilometers north of Baghdad, late last month. Early in the month, Iraqi and US-led coalition planes had stepped up a campaign of airstrikes on Hawija, targeting militant bases and weapons facilities. The Daesh has been steadily losing ground and seeing its sprawling caliphate, which in 2014 spanned a third of the territory of Iraq and also neighboring Syria, crumbling fast. The territory is still holding in the western province, lies mainly on the border with Syria along with Euphrates River. Novelist Kazuo Ishiguro, best known for his book The Remains of the Day, has been awarded the 2017 Nobel Prize for Literature. Born in Japan, Ishiguro now lives in Britain and writes in English. The Swedish Academy cited him for novels of great emotional force. He has uncovered the abyss beneath our illusory sense of connection with the world. The prize is worth 9 million kroners, which is $1.1 million. A 19th century fortress overlooking Paris is home to the 8th Transmissions Regiment of the French Army and one old-fashioned form of communication lives on within its walls. The troop of 120 carrier pigeons, some of which are descendants of winged war heroes gone by, represents a tribute to history, but also a last resort in case of our modern tool fails us. There's an option for that. More of that in the following report.
At this French army base, Corporal Sebastian is inspecting his troops. Pigeons and doves whose ancestors once carried the military's most sensitive messages.
Here you can read that he's French, that he was born in 2009.
Some 200 carrier pigeons roost here at a historic fortress overlooking the French capital. Born and raised under the watchful eye of Sebastian and his predecessors, these birds have the unique ability to find their way back home by reading the Earth's magnetic fields, even when released hundreds of miles away. A museum at the site commemorates their historic roles in past wars, carrying valuable messages and even images.
During the First World War, there was a pigeon who was kind of like a precursor of the drone. Basically, we put a camera on a pigeon that was on its return flight during the First World War. We put a camera on him, and thanks to an automatic release, the pigeon, without realizing it, took photos of bridges and things like that.
Maps, desperate requests, and last words. Even blood samples were carried through the skies by these birds, some of whom were decorated for their courage. Today, the troops roosting around the museum are trotted out for shows. The doves are used in ceremonies. But although swifter methods of communication have replaced them for now, the military hasn't written off carrier pigeons entirely. Should they become necessary again, civilian owners all over the country know their birds could be called up to active duty.
When they become licensed owners, we teach them that if there's an electromagnetic war, if our telecommunications no longer work, they'll be expected to loan us their carrier pigeons. It would be a loan. We wouldn't take them, but we'd use them to communicate.
Until then, these birds can enjoy their heroic roots and a birdseed snack in relative peace.
Now for the general forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with chances of low clouds and fog late at night and early morning over the governorates of Sharqiya and Wusta and coastal areas of the Sea of Oman. Winds will be southerly to southeasterly to moderate, and seas will be slight to the maximum wave height of 1 meter. This is the Sultan of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. On behalf of His Majesty the Sultan, His Highness Said Asad bin Tariq leaves for Brunei Dar es Salaam to attend the Golden Jubilee celebration of His Majesty the Sultan of Brunei's accession to the throne. As per royal directives, Fulk As-Salama ship starts its journey to several East African countries. And at a cost of worth more than 200 million Omani Riyals, a usufruct agreement to establish a cement factory at Duqm is signed. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here in the newsroom and the studios, have a good weekend. Good night.